Alright, we are officially live. Hello, everybody. Alright, 1 second. Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and welcome to ButtonPress Studios Live Event Episode 2. Alright, so as you can see, I have Visual Studio open. Because today I am going to be showing some updates. We're going to be talking about some more stuff about the future of the company, ButtonPress Studios LLC, and we're going to talk about how it's going to become a company, because it's still technically in progress. Some things are happening. And we have the ButtonPress Studios Discord up right now, over here, the lounge. There's people in the VC, but I'll do that later. For now, I'm going to demonstrate a few things, and we're going to talk about what's going to happen. So, let's boot this thing up. I've been doing a lot of work in the RP Games engine as of late. As you guys can see, there's actual stuff on the map, and a character that moves, and an editor, and like, look at this. There's actual stuff. There's a command prompt type thingy. Hello, and then I can just get rid of that. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's hold on, we got menus. We can do options. We have all the different menus here, sliders. So there's been a lot of work done in the past, what is it, 2 months? Daddy V in the house. Hello, Dad. My dad is in the chat. So if you guys were checking out my Twitter recently, you saw that there was a checklist of things to do for the engine. I did not finish all of it, because I had some other things to do. I had to get some classes set up for my next semester of college. I had to get into a class, things like that. It was really annoying because the interface is really bad. Also practicing driving, because the driving test is Monday. But let's not talk about all that. Let's talk about ButtonPress. I just hit the microphone. I'm professional. Okay. So, RP Games engine. As you can see, it's much closer to an actual game now. I would say roughly 2 to 3 weeks away from being usable as an actual game engine. After that, of course, there's still going to be updates. I'm not going to stop developing it, but I would say in 2 weeks it'll be possible to actually make games with it, albeit basic stuff. So basically today, what we're going to do is I'm going to explain the process for actually starting our first project, which is going to be Project Immortal. I think I touched on this a lot, actually, in the last stream with Glenn. He was here last time. He might be back later. I don't know. But anyway, what we're going to do for this game, I'm going to have to finish the engine, or at least the basics of it. So there's some things that are a work in progress. The level editor's, for the most part, done. I still have to make a menu editor. I still have to finish the conversation editor, which you can see is a little buggy. Like, the text is, like, going over itself. But basically, there's, like, a thing here that lets you create different menu elements. Or not menu elements. This is a conversation editor. So say I wanted to go, like this. And then I can do it again. I think it's a little broken at the moment, because if I tried to link this and this, the game might crash. No, it doesn't. Okay, so this is basically how a conversation would work, right? So you'd open up, hold on, there we go. No, hold on, let's remove that. There we go. So say this is a conversation, right? You talk to somebody, they say something, and then there's 3 different things you can say. So say this over here, the person would be like, hey, how's it going? I could say, I'm doing good, and then that would start a whole new thing. So maybe I'd go like this, and then I'd link this and this. And then I can go like this. Oh, that was weird. See, it's a little buggy, as you can see. There's some things that are a little weird. But yeah, so I could be like, I'd say I'm good, then he would say, oh, that's great. And then like, how's the weather? And then something like that. Or I can say it's not going so well, then he would say, oh, that's too bad. So this conversation tree is a work in progress. But once that's done, that will allow the story writers to actually, you know, make conversations between characters and interact with people and stuff like that. And there's a lot of trues in the chat here. I think that means, or in the developer console, I think it's because I'm testing something in like a menu or whatever. But so we're close, but not close enough. So what's going to happen once this thing is finished, I think there's going to be, I'm going to do another button press meeting as that happens. Like when well, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm definitely going to upload an update video. If anyone remembers the my 2D RPG game, if you guys remember those old videos. Oh, that doesn't work yet. I forgot. I didn't implement window resize changes, did I? I did not. That's really weird. But, yeah, I'll upload another episode of that once everything's back to where it was. And then, at that point, I came up with a perfect idea. So, the story writers and the world builders can collab to use the aspects of the engine. It's really easy. I mean, I pressed X to toggle the editor. And there's an actual menu now, so I can go like entity, middle click. I can pick up trees, put them down. I can switch to the eraser. And then if I right click, it goes back. So I can toggle between erase and entity, which is really nice. So say I want to put down a house. I can put down a house. And then I can put down... Oh, and then I can do something else too. Watch this. Let's go to the eraser. And then let's go back to tile. So then I can make like a smiley face, right? Go like this. See, we have our smiley face. And then I can go to the region tool. I right click, select a region here. And then I can switch to the rotate tool. And you can see, if I place this region down, oh, right, I have to go back to region. Beep. Look at that. It places the rotated region. Then there's a flip tool as well. Which, there we go. So you can't see the other way it's flipping because it's symmetrical. But when I left click, it flips horizontally. When I right click, it flips vertically. But as I said, it's symmetrical, so you don't really see any difference. So, yeah. What I was thinking, since the editor is so easy, the story writers would have to either become world builders as well, or any world builders on the team would collaborate. And basically what they would do is they would put together a demo. So, because there's a lot of conflicting ideas right now with how the game should start, who the main character should be. So there's going to be teams set up. I think me and Glenn are going to be working on the original idea, which is that the character is going to be around my age. It's going to be like, it'll be similar to me and Glenn. So it'll be like probably a guy, probably around 20, and it'll be set in like the 1700s, just as like the pilgrims and Indians are interacting with each other, whatnot. That's the main character, stuff like that. But there are alternate theories by, for example, our story writer, Vanillian? I don't know. But the story writer has some other ideas. Oh, that was weird. You see that? That's the inventory button. It's not working yet. But there's conflicting ideas. So, since it's going to be super easy to make areas and dialogue and things like that. Yeah, see, I'm talking in the chat right now. A lot of different ideas for character. So we can throw our ideas out there in these short little demos, which can be loaded up individually, by the way. So we can load up demo 1, load up demo 2. They can all be contained in the engine. And then we can get the play testers to finally play the demos. So it'd be roughly 5 to 10 minutes per demo. There'd be music involved. I know we have a very talented musician on the team. Not just Glenn. Of course, Glenn's a very talented musician, but we also have a new one, which, are they on? Yeah, Pigeon or Pigeon. I don't know how you want to pronounce your name. Very impressed with the SoundCloud submission so far. That's pretty neat stuff. So that, they could definitely help us out a lot. So, yeah, these demos are going to be put together after the update video. And then we'll call upon the army of play testers that we have. There's more than just the 8 that are online right now. But we'll call upon them to test it and review it. We'll maybe have a straw poll or something. Or maybe even an in-game review system, kind of like what Subnautica has, where it lets you make a review and it sends it to the devs and stuff. So that'd be pretty cool. So, looking forward to that. Thank you, Brandon. Hey. So, actually, while I'm here, Pigeon or Pigeon, we're gonna have to figure that out. However you pronounce. I mean, I see a picture of a pigeon, so I'm gonna guess pigeon. One thing we're gonna wanna have for the demos is some loopable music. So like some town music, maybe some battle music, maybe some emotional music, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be stylized specifically in any ways. Just, I don't know if I want to say placeholder, but it's just throwing ideas out there. So, things like that. So, alright, let me talk about the original idea, because of course the RP Games engine is a huge part of ButtonPress, but I think Project Immortal is more important because that's what's actually going to be released on Steam as a game. Maybe Pigeon. Okay, there you go. But the original idea is that this is my original idea. The character is a male, 20 years old, white pilgrim, and they are settling in where modern-day California is, right on, the western U.S., and they are very close and friendly with a set of natives. So this is all before the conflict started, so right? We don't want to get into that right away. So the nearby village has an elder. There's some alchemists or potion people. Of course, we're going to fact check and make things somewhat accurate. Don't want to be, racist or whatever by saying, oh, the natives came up with a potion and voodoo, and no, we're going to actually, make it. Either way, the character gets injured in some accident. They're out with their friends, like maybe out in the woods or something. They get injured, horribly injured, to the point where they could die. And then they are brought to this village elder. They're the only chance because the doctor can't fix the wounds, whatever. You take the cure to your being, ill or broken or something. And then, hold on, just gonna. But we're gonna then. What happens is once you get the cure, then your character becomes immortal. And you don't realize this at first. You get into some confrontations. Maybe you're enlisted in a war. I don't know. Some battles. And then immediately, something bad happens to either your friends, your family, and you come out unscathed as the character. And that's when you realize, I'm immortal. And then over the next 300-400 years, you go from the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, 2000s, maybe even 2100s. And there's this huge story where all the people that you meet along the way eventually age and die, and you're left behind, and you search for meaning as an undying person. It's not like you're all powerful though. You're just like a person, like a regular person, but you just can't die. So that's the plan. Where did I learn to code Java? I learned it from Bucky, otherwise known as the New Boston, on YouTube. I did this way back in 2010 when I started playing Minecraft. I taught myself Java and C++ all that time ago. I would recommend C# though. It's much more versatile for game dev. So, with that in mind, that's important. So we're going to be making demos. I want to see what is going on. Also, the Pilgrim started in 1492. Oh. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. I would like it to be in the 1700s, though, because we want, 300-400. Yeah, we're going to need, before we even get anywhere, we need some common ground on the story. I think, definitely around the 1700s, there was both of those factions in that area. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Maybe not. But, yeah, anyway. We all need to find common ground between the story writers, me, Glenn, like the original people that worked on this idea. And once we do that, then I go back to work. I fix this engine up so that it's usable, or at least so the level editor is usable. 1,000 years. That would be nuts. That could be sequels though, or prequels. Yeah, so we can have Project Immortal 2. So maybe there'd be like some ancient Roman or something that lives for just as long because they found the same secret or whatever. We could have a connected universe with all this. Oh, Glenn's here. I don't know if he's able to talk. Ah. Okay. Might be. No problem. Anyway. So Glenn's probably not showing up today, but it's fine. Yeah, it could be fun. But anyway, for now we need to focus on the short term. We gotta have a nice, simple... We don't want the most ambitious project ever because it is the first one ever of the company. So I should talk a little bit more about the company itself. So let's boot up ButtonPress.org really quickly. So there is a website. I don't know if there was last time. I don't think there was. Here we go. ButtonPress Studios. As you can see, we have a website. And this is a placeholder logo, by the way. I just went and used the same font as my YouTube and just, you know. So that's not our logo. It's just something. And the background is the banner thing I made for ButtonPress as well. So the front page is a little screwed up because this is actually copied over from ThirtyVirus.com if you look. I'm just going to load that up real quick too. So you can see it's very similar. There's the Twitter and Instagram, the social medias, the Discord. So the homepage, let's ignore for now. But I did calibrate it to use the proper Twitter and Discord. The Instagram is still my Instagram though, so let's just ignore that. So we go to pre-release, and we have ongoing projects. This is a work in progress. There's a lot of this going on. There's a lot of choose your image, and I am text block, and then there's some Latin in there. That's just default for the editor I use. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But this is like the placeholder stuff. So this is where the image of the RP Games engine is going to be. This is where the description is going to be. And then Project Immortal is going to have a different picture, different description. So those are our ongoing projects. And then once we release any projects, they will go here. So this is where the finished stuff is. So this is where a demo might go. So like we will have an actual downloadable demo. And this is where it would go. And then once we release the games themselves, obviously they're shot up to the top of the page. Then we have downloads. None yet because it's kind of similar. And we might remove the downloads page because projects might, or might, I don't know. We might merge those two pages together because they're kind of similar. And then we go to apply. Apply for ButtonPress staff. This is a link to the staff application. It actually works, as you can see. And this is if you want to become staff or an intern. Don't have to, you know, be under any legal bindings, no paperwork or whatever. You could just chill out in the Discord and supply work and have your name put in the game. You know, description and stuff. And there's no description yet. All placeholder stuff. So then we go to some other pages in the bottom. It says privacy policy, none yet. Terms of service, none yet. And then we have meet the team. This page is going to be dedicated to the staff. So founder and CEO, Brandon Calabrese, no description, no picture yet. And then this is probably where we have head developer. I'm anticipating a certain person that's really skilled in coding that may or may not want to take the position at some point. Musician, probably Glenn. Head writer. We're going to have a few others. So we might put some, if we ever get a business person along the lines of that, because we're probably going to need some sort of a manager to make sure everything's actually, like, you know, going forward and everyone just doesn't stop working. They'll probably go here. We'll see. And then maybe world builder here, or like an animator or something. And then we have all the interns, which will actually be listed. So even if you want, if you're too young, or maybe you have too many obligations, you don't want to actually pick up a second career, if you already have a career, if you just want to supply some work, and you know, it could be a few images, it could be some ideas, maybe you can make a few functions in code and send it to us and it'd be sent in and, you know, implemented in the game. You just want to put a little bit of work, but you don't want any long-term investment. That's what the internship is really for. And this is where you guys would get your credit. And in the games themselves, obviously, when the credits roll, they'll all be there. It might be renamed. It might not be intern, because in legal terms, you know, that would mean some other things, like, you know, work hours and stuff, and it might be a little too complicated. So we might rename it to, like, I don't know, partners, or I don't know, helpers, something like that. But yeah, so this is where we have that. There's probably going to be way more permanent staff, and then at some point, I feel like between projects, the staff list is going to fluctuate a bit. So we might have links to individual projects and their staff lists. Anyway, that's staff. Meet the team. Then we have frequently asked questions. What is this page for? Not sure. Need some questions. If you guys have questions for ButtonPress Studios LLC, leave them in the suggestions chat on the Discord. We can add them to this page. And then we have about ButtonPress, nothing here yet. And then we have the contact thing, which actually emails, I think it's admin@buttonpress.org. So if you have any questions, you can send them here, which is nice. Now, this is the one thing where the privacy policy would actually come into play, because it does save your email address, and it, you know, by using this website, you agree to having your email address given to somebody so that they can reply just in case you have a question or whatever. So that's that. I'm going to have to get into a little bit of legal stuff with that. Not quite sure just yet. But that's that. So this is ButtonPress Studios LLC, copyright 2018, and it looks, I think it looks great. as a placeholder, right? If you can imagine like the actual content being on the page, just the layout I think is really nice. Other than the homepage, because it's straight up ripped from my other website. Did you know I own 3 websites? Hold on. Supercraft.net. This is my 3rd website. I might as well just show it off. Same homepage again. And then you have the buy ranks and add-ons. Doesn't that look nice? Oh, props to 80 Green Ninja, by the way, for this background. It's very nice. I might have... There's a lot more screenshots in this. I'll make it cycle between them. But yeah, similar thing. Then there's going to be a forum, downloads, merch. Let's get out of there. But, yeah. So, it's pretty cool. We have a website now. By the time that the next meeting comes along, we're going to be secured with SSL. For now, it's not secure because the company I bought it from is being annoying and is giving me problems, but I'll figure that out later. I have the SSL certificates ready. I just got to figure out how to install them properly, which is apparently a big problem. Bet that's information you guys really want to know. But, oh, and you can also access the Discord. So you don't even have to have Discord. You can just go on the, you can go on here. There's that meme of me holding the the bird. It's actually kind of funny because my dad's watching the stream right now, so he probably remembers taking that picture. He's the one that took it. And, yeah, they've memed it. And they dropped my pen. There. But anyway, yeah, so you can look at the chat, and we specifically disabled the bot, so I'm just going to go, like, test, and then it failed to send message because I don't want that. There's already been some spam issues with this bot, so we basically neutered the bot so that all it can do is really lurk around the Discord, but it can't, you know, send any messages, which is nice because if you don't have Discord and you just want to see, then there it is. So yeah, interesting stuff. So the only thing left for ButtonPress until it actually becomes an LLC is, how do you pronounce it? It's like it's spelled Aphrodite. I don't know what it is, but I have to basically submit a notice of what is it? A notice of formation, I think, for 6 weeks. So it's once a week for 6 weeks in a weekly newspaper, and every day for 6 weeks in a daily newspaper. And once that's done, then I have my proof, and then I think I just keep copies of it somewhere, and then the LLC is done, and then I can order forms to actually hire some of the actual staff. As I said, the interns don't need such treatment, so if we go to meet the team, I'm not looking to officially hire that many people because I am doing like 99% of the work for this thing so far. I mean, this engine, right? PHStack has given me a few pointers, which is nice. Pun intended, pointers are a thing in programming, but not literal pointers. But, and of course, there was, Zintom gave me a lot of help on the first iteration of the RP Games engine, the one that was in C#, or not C#, the one in VB. So, you know, but for the most part, most of the work done on this current version of the engine and the Discord. The Discord, though, that is not all me. Huge props to our moderators because I'm a noob on this sort of thing, and yeah. But yeah, huge thanks to the moderators. But as far as the product's concerned, then yeah. Let's see. Hello, ThirtyVirus. So anyway, I might as well... Oh, wow, there's a lot of people in the general VC. I think we've hit the point where I can talk with people. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, I would highly recommend it. Here, I can invite people. Just in case you guys are watching later, I can make a non-expiring link. Throw that in there. One thing I don't like about Discord, it doesn't let you copy a previous command. Like, if I wanted to do that again, I mean, for now it says it'll never expire, but if I try this like a day from now, it'll generate a new link, and it's like, can I just use the link I had before? But whatever. But anyway, if you guys want to join, you can do that. Memes. Stats. That's hilarious. But, yeah, so let's go in the chat and let's see what people have to say. Here we go. Hello.
Hey, he finally arrived.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, man?
So, you guys think I explained everything there is to explain so far?
Meh.
Sounds good
Meh.
so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to me.
I think I only missed like the first 30 seconds of the stream, so
That's good.
which is rare for me. I tend to be like a day late and a dollar short to these things.
So yeah, if anyone wants to join the event VC, they can join the Discord. I think it's open to anybody.
Yes,
If you
well,
just
basically yes.
if you guys want to lurk, you can, but just make sure you're muted just in case there's any background noise. Anyone that wants to talk can talk though. It's fine. So
Also, be
Good.
careful of feedback.
oh yeah, I'm gonna keep my headset away from the
Well,
microphone.
everybody in general.
Oh yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I
that
got
gets
mine
that.
set differently because of friends complaining that the fish tank in the background's the filter pump in it is quite noisy. So I've had to adjust everything for that. So hopefully, on my part, there shouldn't be any problems with feedback.
So yeah, what you guys think about the original idea? At least for this is the biggest source of debate right now is how Project Immortal is going to start. I would say.
Go
I
straight
like
to Venice.
I like the time starting in the 1700s,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna have to, fudge the history to fit, so it's at least reasonably accurate.
I would say. Oh, Blizzard's in chat. Hello.
I mean, it's easier to write in the past than it is in the future. Why not just add an extra 200 years onto that?
Maybe there could be like a DLC, free DLC by the way. Screw you, EA. We're gonna have a DLC that we could have a DLC that keeps going, right? Maybe there's a timeline where your character decides that they're not going to cure their immortality. There's a lot of ideas for how it's going to end, but let's say there's an ending that's not an ending. You just kind of keep going, and then there could be like some future endeavors. But what I was going to say before, a huge inspiration for the location is Back to the Future, because I realized that the California area is very rich in history. And it's so different between even the, 70 or 90-ish years. I think it was around, it was about that. But in the Back to the Future movies, those three, so different, the same area. And it was just, I think it'd be really good for a game like this.
I mean, to be fair, if you take any place and look at it 100 years later, it's going to look different.
Unless it's in Europe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless it's got
Yeah,
Brandon's name on
apparently
it,
the
it will always look
places
different.
ended in 1492 as well, which is strange.
But yeah, I like the idea, though, of opening the universe up to, say, some characters that live for longer. So, like, a 1,000-year timeline would be very interesting. Like some gladiator-type stuff.
Of the character not staying in the same place. If we want to give the player a choice, why not have them have an option? Do you want to stay in the Americas, or do you want to go to Europe with some of the returning pilgrims?
Oh boy, what's this?
Another thing that
That
could...
idea is going to work in at the end of Act 1, where you can either stay in your homeland or go across the ocean.
I think for this first game, though, we should keep things simple because if you think about it, every time skip is going to involve basically re-skinning the entire map. Like, the shape will be similar, but of course, everything's going to be redone between eras. So whether it be every 30 years, so maybe that, if it was every 30 years, for example, that would be 10 different iterations of the same map. So we want to keep things somewhat simple in that
Your
regard.
assets would be dependent per era of the map. Like,
Yeah. Wow, there's a lot of people in this chat.
In all
I've been
fairness,
waiting
some
for-
places don't really change much in like 30 years.
True.
So you can
trees
have, like,
don't
a
change,
small
bushes
village.
don't change.
Well,
Brandon
trees
just seen
change
it,
like a
it's-
little bit, but it's not super noticeable. But like you could have, say, a small village. 30 years later, it's going to still be a small village, or it might be larger, but it could still be like the same map and just change the characters to make them look bigger instead.
I'm going to make a horrible reference, but something that could happen. I was just watching a CinemaSins video for Cars, and I saw like the whole story behind that town, how it was like abandoned basically because the highway was reconstructed to like have the town basically not connected to the road, and it like died financially. So something like that would be interesting too for some places in the game that, due to some change by like the overall like government or whatever, like this one place is like abandoned or something because it's not on the main road anymore, or something like that. Could be an interesting dynamic to have in the background for.
We could
Not
play
the-
with that on player decisions, like a player decision
That's what
or
I'm
a
saying.
key battle.
Ooh.
If something goes wrong or you fail, you don't die, but maybe the area and town that you're in drastically changes and for the worse.
Maybe
Or-
there's like a
or-
major trade route that's taken
it's like
over,
a
so a
secret-
detour needs to be made. And then that results in whatever town that was there being made into a ghost town because the trade route is rerouted. Or something like
Or
that.
if you're playing as an evil character, you could do that yourself. You could choose to get yourself more money by making this road. Or in a different timeline, you don't want this road to happen because it will be bad for the town.
Yeah, you can have like a toll road or something. And then,
No, I mean, the same thing you're talking about. Make a
yeah.
highway that turns the town into a ghost town. But if you're good, then you can try to stop it. But if you're evil, then you could be the one who instigated it.
There's a lot of potential with things like that. But I think making little demos, you know what they could be? The demos could be for specific scenes. So it could be like maybe one demo could be the first. It could be like the whole before becoming immortal thing could be a demo. And then like things could be tweaked. And like another demo could be that. It could be the highway thing. So there's like this big battle or whatever. And then something happens and like maybe 30, 40 years go by. And then you can see your decisions having consequences just at the end. And then end of demo. And things will be strung together in a sort of way that's like, yeah.
And I
That's a
mean,
nice
like,
bite-sized piece to work on.
Yeah, that might be the best way to do this is to tackle the project one bite at a time because, let's be fair, I'm pretty sure none of us have any experience with a real game development project. So this is like,
I mean, I've done a little.
okay,
Not much.
fair
but
enough.
I've done a little bit. But if
But
we're not
for-
going to go with the story that I've written so far, we can use that as a demo. Just
you could.
like.
Well,
show
that's what's great about how I'm making the editor right now. I'm making it so easy that, for example, right, if I load up the Pallet Town demo, recreating this took 10 minutes, not even. Because there are
Nice.
tools like copy paste. So if I went, say I wanted to make the trees more solid in this region, I can go like, actually, hold on, let me go like,
Brandon, just realised there is a 20-second delay on what you're saying to what comes
Oh, you're using your
just
bed
realized that.
Wars settings.
oh, am I?
No, it's
Well-
general stream settings for there to be a small delay. Just
Let's
I'm
see if
pretty
there's
sure
like
there
this.
is a delay.
there's a
So then I can place this like that, and then boom, more trees. So I can copy paste whole sections of trees and like make this like instantaneously like larger, and then I can go to the tile tool, middle click,
God bless you.
extend the road. Oh, that was a hiccup. That's fine. Oh, that's what I needed to do. Okay, another thing for the level editor, I'm gonna make it so your brush size can be different, so you can place like say a cube of 4x4 tiles at once. It'd be
yeah, that's very
useful.
important.
Yeah, we're gonna need just basic things like that.
Brandon, do you know
Have
how
you put
creative
objects that you can interact with on there? Like, say, put in, I don't know, a berry bush and you can, like, hit X
Yeah,
or
What I was gonna do is I'm gonna make it so, okay, so what's pretty nice about the way I coded this, everything in the game that's not the floor is an entity, including the characters and the player, including the trees. So if I really wanted to, once I do a little clever coding, I could make the player take over a tree if I wanted to. So you can be controlling a tree.
This looks like Little Big Planet.
But what that means is that all the objects in the world inherit the same properties. So for example, a mailbox could have an inventory, whereas a tree might have an inventory, and there could be different states. There could be different flags, if you will, if we're going to go with the whole bucket spigot type thing. Like, you know, region flags with like World Guard or whatever. There could be a flag
I mean,
on an
flags
entity.
are a typical thing for, like, making games and stories and stuff.
So, like, for example, if it's a bush, it could have the flag fully grown, or maybe ripe. There we go. Ripe would be its would be the flag it's given, and if you interact with it, and it'll bring up a menu that says, "Oh, there's some berries. You want to pick it?" You say yes, and then it will change. It will delete that flag, and it'll replace it with a flag. Well, it won't have a flag at all. So the default state will be that there is no berries there, and it'll take some time before it grows back, and then it adds the flag again after a certain amount of time's passed.
So
Two
you-
little things.
So
One.
some sort of a random tick regen.
Yeah. we have the time class implemented as well, which is how I'm able to have the blinking cursor in the command prompt, which is something you don't even think about, but like this is text. But it's like having that blink like that, you have to say, okay, if the current second is the first half of that second in UTC time or whatever, then it will be opaque. In the other half of that second, it is invisible. So things like that. Things like that, I should say.
You know, when you say cursor, I normally think of an actual mouse cursor, not a typing cursor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can actually, speaking of the mouse cursor, I implemented recently being able to click and it actually...
Yep, no worries. I'm just a little slow.
Yeah. Well, I would say, anyway, I'm making it as easy as possible to use the engine to bring your ideas to life. So, I mean, what better of a way to make the story is if the story writers work directly with the engine to produce exactly what they want within minutes. Like,
now, here's an idea. Now, we'll be able to interact with all of these entities. A game creator or story writer being able to make an entity that would interact with certain types or classes of entities to do something. Like a flint and steel lighting a tree on fire and converting it into a burnt down tree or something. Just for an example.
Things like that, the way that would work, I would have an item, which is another type of entity. The item would be flint and steel. And then if the item is named... For now, it would go off of the name.
Okay.
There might be a UUID system or whatever for like specific, I don't know, ID systems for items. It would say if the ID is equal to that, or if the name is equal to flint and steel, then it will interact with whatever you're pointing at. And if that object has the tag flammable, then it will burst into flames. So if you try it on a player, they won't have the flammable tag, so they won't burn.
That has some difficulties going on. You need to put in like some sort of flammability scale, because it just.
I mean, you could do that as a flag. I mean, a lot of flags are scales. I mean, I'm going off of Bucket Spigot again, but it's not unheard of to have a flag that is you know, a scale. So it could be 100% flammability, 50% flammability, things like that, and then something that's flammable adjacent to another thing that's flammable would have the tag, and it would activate it after
This is where I go back to RuneScape and do like the fire making stuff, because the random chance on that compared to other things.
We're going to really add a full skill tree to this, in addition to that.
Oh no.
Well,
for that, let's get on the same page here.
But I think that we should keep things simple for this first run. It'll be mostly story based. I love Undertale. I think it should be similar to that. We need a fighting system though. Glenn's a huge fan of the, you know, Legend of Zelda type thing. And that's the reason why our character in the game can run diagonally, because he insisted that we got rid of the grid-based movement from Pokemon and allowed diagonal movement that makes it so that you can fight like in real time.
Oh, I'm noticing that. I didn't even notice you had implemented.
Yep, so that was directly from Glenn. It's a difficult system to implement because you need a primary direction, which is where the animation will play, and a secondary direction that will actually move you, but only half as intensely in that direction, so that you don't like double your speed by going diagonally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. That's actually really good. Yeah, a Zelda type thing where there's like a small area of effect for like melee weapons or a directional range type of weapon or attack. That would be interesting. I was thinking it would be something more along the lines of like your standard RPG kind of,
like Pokemon or like
turn-based, something like that, or
turn-based battles are boring.
Well, the thing that's great is that what this is right now is a game engine. So what I could do is implement both and then have a toggle. And then we could try both. So we can have turn-based combat, see how that goes. If we don't like it, we can have real-time combat and see which one the playtesters like more. So that's that.
Okay.
For now, it's mostly features. But yeah, I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks. I know in Minecraft 1.13 is going to drop soon, so I'm going to have to allocate some time towards Subiocraft to get the server up and running again. But once that's done, it'll be full steam ahead, or full speed ahead for this project.
I can't lie, I am looking forward to the studio update.
It's gonna be pretty big. But yeah, I'm really hoping I can get a version of this out that the story writers can use to make demos with, and I'll make some quick tutorials and maybe upload them unlisted, maybe not unlisted, I don't know, and then just have the links in the chat, so people know what they're doing. And then we'll see where it goes from there.
All right, that's cool.
Yay!
But so far, I would say it's pretty versatile already. I mean, I can save and load. So if I went like save game, I just saved in an area named test area.
A quick question. This is kind of more of a personal issue for me, being a playtester. Linux support at all, or I'm not sure what framework you're using. Can it be?
Okay, so all of our compatibility is inherited from Monogame.
Okay, Monogame. I'll look into that.
And I'm pretty sure. Does it? It does Linux? Yeah. I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, cool. Yeah, the only problem is, I think you have to compile it in a different way for each platform. I'm pretty sure.
I'm 99% sure I will have to sweat that out. And if worse comes to worse, it looks like it's a low enough resource demanding thing. I could just throw up a virtual machine in a Windows box and just run it that way and be like, that's the easy game.
Oh, so there's going to be a few performance updates as well. You guys can probably realize that the...
Yeah, I'm sure it's unoptimized at the moment, but...
And there's also this big thing. I think I've confirmed at this point that any games that you make in Monogame, they are locked at 30 FPS while you're debugging. Once you've compiled it and actually, you know, created an exe, you can go farther than that, but I'm pretty sure I'm capped at 30 at the moment. That's why it might look a little jittery.
That makes sense. Yeah, being able to run something like this at 60 FPS if you're using like real-time fighting,
a phone can do it.
Would be cool. Oh yeah.
And that brings up another thing. This could possibly be an app. How cool would that be?
You do realize you're going to end up having compatibility issues with Android, iOS, and any other system.
Well, Monogame is made to use all of them, so the different versions would work a little differently. So I don't know if Apple supports XML. If it does, then that won't be a problem. Hopefully it does.
It's also then going to be what models will it support, because a lot of Android models, like the old ones,
that's
supported by current games. So
yeah, just piggyback off of other games that are similar. So like whichever version is their minimum will be our minimum. Things like that. We'll just
just like I know
that'd be a rabbit hole to go down though.
I know it's a very old game, but RuneScape is now in its mobile beta for Android because the team are unfortunately having problems with iOS, and that's the thing. Like with this, if we do get it to a point where it's an app for like mobile, it's going to be the compatibility issues between Android and iOS to get them running at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we'll get to, but I'm fairly confident with enough work it will function properly.
And a lot of beta testing.
Yes.
A lot.
I think this would be really sweet on the Switch as well. It would be pretty cool.
Oh, this would
That's
be
another compatibility issue that we've got then. Brandon, we're supposed to be keeping it simple, not make as much work as possible.
But this is all after the game's like done, like after the PC release even. So like it'll be released on PC, and then that's when work on the other platforms would begin.
Of course.
Trying to think of what else to say. I mean, this is probably going to be a short meeting because, I mean, it's kind of a status quo type of thing. There's a lot of work to be done. Oh yeah, one thing for viewers and the people in the chat and you guys in the voice chat alike, any suggestions on the website would be extremely helpful, because I want to at least populate it with pages and format stuff, and then just leave it in the same state as, like, say, the Meet the Team page where there's a bunch of empty things, but like we know exactly what's going to go there. So if anyone's got recommendations, I can send the link actually.
Yeah, I'll look at that in a bit. I imagine you're using some sort of PHP framework.
I stumbled across a thing called Elementor, and it is amazing. So with what's WordPress and Elementor, it lets you construct pages like this in like literally 10 seconds. It's awesome.
Yeah, the last time I was dealing with like PHP based type website design, A, I'm bad at it. B, that was like 5-7 years ago. So yeah, that looks good.
Mr. Sigma's got the game booted up.
I do have a bit of a question, Brandon.
Yeah.
Will there be any sort of database type variables that will be needed throughout the programming or usage of the game? So will we need to have a database to store anything like...
so you mean like, say, statistics, like, for example, Bed Wars, right? It's got a leaderboard and, like, things that need to be stored. I don't think so. I think this is mainly meant to be a single-player experience. So I think we're good on that.
With the actual game, I know a lot of people are, like, especially then, might actually like this. Maybe once you finish a run-through of the...
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, like, have like a credit cashback over what you've done.
Endings you got once you've unlocked them, that could be a thing, because...
I think where you were...
There's going to be lots of possible endings.
Yeah.
I think where you were going with this, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. What's the Telltale Games? How at the end of your playthrough they tell you what percentage of people made the choices you made, and it's interesting.
I was more going along the lines of just show what you did and how it affected. So say you punched this guy, this set this chain of events, or this caused uprising.
I mean, one thing that might be interesting, I know Fallout New Vegas does something similar to that, but I think it might almost be better to leave that out, because part of the fun might be playing the game again and experimenting. It's like, oh, what would happen if I didn't do that thing?
Yeah, that would keep playability like really high. Like,
if you couldn't just solve the game the first time you played it, if you know what to do to get the golden ending the first time you play, why bother trying to play it anymore?
So there's got to be interesting stuff throughout every playthrough, I think.
You gotta keep trying.
But anyway, with the webpage, what do you guys think? Is there anything that needs to be added, or do you think it's good as is, and once everything's filled in, it'll be good?
We could hide unfilled spots until they're filled in to other users. So, for instance, if someone was visiting the site and like the staff page with all them blank boxes that have nothing in them, why not have them hidden to the normal visitor?
Yeah.
Until they've got something in them.
I think the only discrepancy I can think of right now is projects and downloads. I think downloads might just disappear, and then projects will be the place where you get them.
I think the downloads might. Correct me if I'm wrong, but were you aiming for like a pre-release type test or demo sort of thing?
Yeah, demo.
I'm thinking. Okay. Let me think.
Like, correct
I think in pre-release, it would be pre-release would probably be the place to go for a demo. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And then, like, say I put an image for Project Immortal, and then it'd be clickable, and it would say, here's the beta test builds if you want to check them out or something like that.
Another thing is, it might actually be better to have the pre-release or the download on the pre-release page to be the version before the ones the beta testers are testing. Just so then they're not going, oh, let's play it before like the actual beta testers can do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. They can actually get it.
There's going to be a difference between the versions beta testers get to play and the rest.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
The version that the public gets to play should really just be like small things, like, hey look, check out me moving around, or check it out how you can move around this room and pick up items and use them. Maybe even a puzzle or two just to show how the mechanics work, but not this is what happens in the game.
Or the demo could be what a lot of Xbox games did back in the day, where it would be more polished, because it would be, instead of a in development type thing, it would be more so a demo that tempts people to buy the game. It shows them what
Yeah.
they're getting for their money. But no story stuff. But it like, I don't know, maybe something like that.
Maybe
Kinda like
expand your pallet town with like a little area, some of the different like encounters you could run into, and a puzzle or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of like the demo being maybe a puzzle, maybe it's like, hey look, here's a small group of like 10 people.
So then in that case, I guess
It's open.
downloads would be removed as a page then.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I don't want
So
to.
have like little things to show off mechanics of the games, like the dialogue tree, or
Then there comes up with the question, what happens with the top bar there? I think having only 4 pages might not be enough. It would look a little empty as a website. I don't know.
it would be, yes, but I mean they can always be filled up as time goes on. We could have like
True.
one bar for like each different game, and put in,
yeah.
like, a teaser of information on
Rip
each.
them
And,
out.
like tell like, hey look, we finished Act 3 on Project Immortal.
Okay, maybe what we can do is home pre-release, and then instead of projects and downloads, it would be you would have RP Games Engine as a tab, and then you'd have Project Immortal as a tab, and then it would show the different progress updates. It'll be an update board like what you just said. But yeah, each individual project. So instead of having all the projects on one page, they'd each have their own. That'd be smart. For now, at least.
Yes, I come up with smart ideas from time to time.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself down
Hey,
like
I mean,
that.
you said you liked my story idea, even if it was pretty much completely different from yours.
That might be the actual like thing about this particular framework. Like stories can be made for it relatively easily. That's what I like about where you're going with the project, where most anybody that has a certain understanding of how RPG type games work can write a story with an easy GUI.
I mean, just from watching the stream, I feel like you guys probably can see how easy it is to use the editor. I mean, even in its current buggy, in development state, I would think it's very easy to make.
Oh, I see
Like
where you're going
maps.
with it, like the
Once you-
linear progression for dialogue and consequences, and a potential of having 2 different encounter. That's what I'm looking for. Fighting modes that we can work with.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, once you release the editor for us to be able to use, I can easily put something out in a matter of hours and make a decent little half an indie game.
And, this is something that me and PhDac briefly discussed. An asset editor. How cool would it be
asset, that was the word I was
to make your own objects and tiles in the game? And it
Yes,
just creates the files, adds the ID, and it just works immediately in the editor.
I
That
mean,
would be
that
awesome.
would probably be rather essential for the people who are building.
Exactly. So if it's like, this scene needs leaves. There are no leaf blocks yet, so let me quickly draw up a texture and throw it in.
Berries on it, and a separate one with red berries.
So
So-
that brings up another question of mine. I'm thinking at some point multi-tile structures. So I'm, again, going off of Minecraft here, modded multi-block structures.
Yep.
Something like a multi-tile structure would probably make sense because, as you can tell, the floor textures are very tiny and they repeat very quickly, and it's obvious that it's... So having some sort of massive texture that just kind of reveals itself the more of that ID you place down in one spot, I think that would be really nice as well.
Yeah, I can see that. So you could do something like that for hardwood floors, for example.
Yeah, so you'd have... Well, I mean, hardwood floors, I feel like, could be... Do I have that? Let me see. Give wood.
I mean, hardwood
Oh, wait.
floors, it's just little identical squares. So tile.
Yeah, so like if you go here... Whoa. You guys aren't going to see that for a little bit. But, I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe, like, you put a fountain, right? And then there's, like, a circle going around the fountain. And unless you want to add, like, 30 different tile types for each part or segment of the circle pattern in the floor, instead you can make a multi-tile structure that would be, say, the dimensions of a tile times 16 in both directions or something like that. So, I don't know. Something like that would probably be very useful as well.
Or like the house, for example. Like you have houses there that are just big objects.
Yeah.
Like that. Or like something
Well,
like-
objects are more, or houses are more of an object.
Or
so
you're
when
talking
I'm-
something like you can build like, say, 3 tiles long and it's a thing, or you could build another couple of tiles onto it and it still looks like one thing. Like, say you could have a bench, and if you put it, like, say, 3 units wide, then it has, like, arms on the side because it's a fancy bench.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you can have varying size of bench. That's interesting as well.
Say, sidewalk, certain types of flooring.
Okay, so kind of like the smeltery from Tinker's Construct. How it's technically something you put down yourself, but the bigger you make it, it's still considered one object. I like that because, okay, that would require a completely different system in the code, but I think it would be a nice little feature to have, that you have like this little bench object that's a 1x1 square, and as you put more of them next to each other, they connect. Fences, there you go. Fences would be an obvious one.
Yeah, fences. So you could have
so if I were to
corner fences, and they just change automatically, so you don't have to change from like center fence to end piece to corner piece.
Minecraft
games. Yeah. So like for example, I constructed the fence texture specifically to be put next to each other like it is right now. So if I go in the editor and I use entity, select a fence, and I do this, they're not going to look as nice because you'll see the thing sticking out. Yeah, so maybe it would recognize it's a multi-object structure, and it would have a texture that doesn't have the little bars coming off the sides there.
Well,
interesting
you could
ideas.
Expand that idea a little bit further and even do like your generic buildings or strip malls or building cities real quick, where you can have like a street with a long building, and you can edit it and just put like a couple of fillers and it will create it, and similar, like you could have ends of it and then doors, and it would give you an easy to throw in element for a particular map.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's some. I didn't think we'd get any dev ideas today, but I'm liking this. It's giving me some things to add to the list.
Here, things are going to happen.
This is good. So, I guess to keep this brief, I mean, that we talked about most of the things. So I guess everybody watching the stream that wants to apply, we are accepting applications. If you want to be a part of this project, you don't have to be a certain age if you want to be an intern. If you want to actually, okay, I'm going to be honest, if you do an actual application for a job, not going to be able to take it right away because we haven't set up the infrastructure yet for, hiring people. But to, what was I going to say? It's a much higher chance to be an intern for now. People can be promoted from intern to an actual rank or an actual staff position.
That's what I'm planning to do.
So there you go, yeah. So you can have that in mind. And then, and yeah, so if you guys want to apply and contribute to this project, I can't focus when I'm seeing my own face in the chat there. Hold on. I was just looking at that like, But yeah, we're always looking for new, especially, we do have a lineup of developers now. I'm really happy to have been introduced to PHStack and Lucid Sigma and Lindsay. And yeah, and we have, we're definitely going to be able to get some good work done now with programming, because up until now it was just me. So this is good. And musicians, we have, I think, 2 now so far.
Well, you've got Glenn
and Pigeon.
Pigeon,
yeah. Hello. So yeah, we're putting together a team. This is cool. I'm liking where this is going.
How many people do we have for the story? I heard that some other people are going to try, but
I'm one of them. I have a kind of a half laid out thing set up, but
if you want, you can. Oh, and we have Playwise as well, another dev. I'm just looking through the offline list right now. But yeah, if you want to apply as a story writer, then we can do that. And if it's an intern, I mean, it's the intern rank on the Discord and everything is super chill. It's like, but of course I want to have actual candidates on here instead of just anybody that asks for it. But yeah.
So let's just say that the beta tester is like a normal member at the moment. You just get it for asking.
Yeah, so the intern, yeah, I think the intern should still be through the application. The reason why I said that, though, is Warlord's been around a long time, you know? Like,
yeah,
I know for a fact that you're not just some rando. That's, yeah.
Well, I was thinking...
What?
Ask a question.
Did you fix my little problem on my application that I tweeted at you?
If you could resend it, I can take a look. There's been a lot going on recently with yeah. So the staff applications, I'm hoping once the semester starts, I make it a thing to check every Sunday, and then be able to email people back.
It won't let you resend it. Like, it won't let me do it.
Oh. I'll have to look into that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't know how to... I gotta look into Google Forms for that one. But, yeah, I'm liking where this is going. So, expect... Let me see. Let me not screw myself over with time frames here. Okay, I'm gonna set an official day that I'm gonna release a version of the engine that can be used by the story writers, the devs, the music people, basically everybody, to actually start Project Immortal.
I don't suggest doing that just yet.
I'm going to continue with the story I've been writing.
Well, the thing is,
if it's good enough.
I'm leaving room for improvements because, like for example, with saving and loading objects, I spent so long getting this architecture to work properly with XML, because the way it works now, I can change the code, I can change the way things work, because from this point on, any additions are going to be added as like flags, which are just a list of properties which could vary. So some objects that are implemented before the flags were even made would still load into the game because they have no flags. So things like that.
I meant to mention something earlier. Items that change, that changed their image when a flag gets updated. So like the mailbox you're mentioning, when the flag gets changed and it has an inventory, there's a new image where like the flag is up, or the mailbox thing is up, or like you can actually see the berries in the bush, so you know to collect them. All that.
Yeah, so we're gonna definitely need multiple skins per object. I'm gonna have multiple locations for objects because I'm gonna make it so you can compact world objects. If you guys are looking here, in this save, there's like 1 million trees, which are all stored individually. At some point, I'm going to just make it so it says world object ID 9, amount, and it'll be the amount of trees. And then there'll be a list of X and Y coordinates that are just every tree on one line. Unless it has an inventory, in which case it's stored separately on a different line, obviously.
Well, that's part of the optimization stage.
Yeah, it technically makes it so, I mean, the loading interface already works, so if I were to put world object ID 9, amount 5, put 5 X coordinates, 5 Y coordinates in one name, then it would load in all 5 trees. I just haven't implemented the saving part. That's a lot more complicated.
Yeah,
so,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of compare it to how a Minecraft item thing, so for, say, a slab, like a slab, it's got
how it's got
like a different type.
Exactly, it's got the sub metadata type thing. It's like it's ID, for example, I think water's 5 or no, wood's 5. Yeah, so wood, if you wanted birch, it'd be 5 colon 2.
Block colon 2, and alpha slabs
That's
is
not a
like
thing anymore.
it's now petrified wood, I know, but I love my alpha slabs. Don't 1.12.2 is my favorite with the alpha slabs. I'll go into details.
He just likes being the alpha male.
Oh, and the tile map is stored as well separately. I might move this to the data file. What's really nice though, if I go back into the data.xml, it's really cool because you have the properties tag and then you have the entities tag. I could add more tags for different areas if I wanted. Oh, and the character is stored in here as well, which is pretty interesting. Might not do that in the future, but NPCs will be stored there, so I can add entirely new entities and they will fit with the system without it knowing what that type of entity is, because it's all under an interface. So I'm gonna set it up in such a way that there is more than enough room to keep developing the project with basically no limits, and any previously built demos and areas that are made will need very little, if not no changes whatsoever to be booted in the newest version of the game, which is why I want to release something by, say, the 1st, because I want work to begin. So August 1st is, I'm going to set that date. I'm going to try to get everything working to the point where it is usable, worlds can be made, Demos can be made, storylines, conversations, all sorts of craziness.
Does this mean another meeting on August 1st?
I think that means another My 2D RPG game update video on the 1st.
Okay.
Or around the 1st. I think the next meeting might be different because I'm not going to be around on the 1st. So, like, the deadline is, like, the day I leave to go to my dad's house for, like, a week. So,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I give a little time. Say, like...
2 or 3 weeks after, or a month after, say, the end of August, when people have made their own demos and we can, like, show them, go through them, all that stuff.
I think it'd be safe to say that before I leave for college, I'm going to do one more of these. I think I leave on the 15th of August. So sometime between the 1st and the 15th, there's going to be one more of these, and it's going to be showing how the game is, or the engine is basically ready for some very rudimentary gameplay and demos and stuff. And hopefully by then definitely by then the website will be up in, SSL protection. It will have all the stuff, no placeholders anymore. There'll be pages specifically for RP Games Engine, Project Immortal. Staff page will be updated with all the interns we have, things like that. Oh, and the LLC will be completed, so it would be an actual company. Hopefully. So, thank you guys for stopping by. This is fun. It was relatively short of a meeting because, it was mostly a status quo, but I just wanted to keep people in the loop, make sure people know what's going to happen. But it is, hold it to me, the 1st of August is when the releasable, not to the public, by the way, this is to the devs and all the intern and above people. Definitely looking forward to having some music and stuff made, some story elements and things just all thrown together, and we can see how the engine performs with all that. But I guess I'll see you guys around the 1st with an update video about all this stuff. People just posting pictures of me and the thing is weird. Well, anyway, I guess that's it for now. So thanks for stopping by for event number 2, and I'll see you guys in episode 3. Well, many of us will.
Bye.
Bye.
And now he goes silent.
I like to hear people try to sing my name on a stream. It's always funny.
Vanilla.
Vanilla. We're just gonna call you Vanilla from now on.